Yeah, I think we live here. I think we on. Peace, family. It's your boy Rico C in the building, in the place to be on my office. Rather. Just getting some things done. Got a lot of things bubbling. I said burbling. Got a lot of things bubbling. Working on the frequency radio that should be coming at you really soon. So stay tuned. Stay tuned for that. But I just want to take a couple of minutes of your time, maybe not even a couple minutes, maybe even 1 minute. Just share with you a conversation I was having with an individual that I mentor. This individual, pretty much just started a gig, started a job, a new job, should I say, not necessarily a, entry level, one of those mid level gigs, salary non-exempt, type of deal. So, pretty good opportunity to make some money. But this individual was a little bummed out because of some things that was going on, at the workplace, with the direct report. They were explaining that they felt there was some selective accountability, and they, just pretty much felt that, that they were getting the short end of the stick when everyone else was being able to, as they put it, kind of do what they wanted, without being held accountable. So I just want to share with you for a minute a conversation, I had with them, and perhaps, I know it's several individuals, or maybe not too sure how many individuals watching, but I know it's thousands of folks that go through this type of thing. In particular, African Americans, in the workplace, and me too, at one particular point in my career, just recently exiting, corporate America. Did that for almost like 20 years. So I've seen all the tricks in the bag. We'll be talking about that too, on the show. But at any rate, after listening, to the information, the situation, or what have you, I just provided some real life situational information, that I kind of went through, some real shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's always easy, it's always easy to, blame this person, blame that person, that kind of thing. And, and for the most part, it could be true, right? But when things start to change, for me a bit, and not to say, it wasn't a lot of, racism and, a lot of that bullshit, because it most certainly was. But, I was able to rise above that, for lack of better terms, and create an exit, for myself, because I knew long ago what time it was. So, I was able to create an exit, for myself, and, start doing, some other things. So, some things worked out. But at any rate, to the advice, right? So the first thing I explained to this individual is that it's very important that you create your day. What I mean by create your day. Well, you wake up in the morning, whatever fucking time that is, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., that moment when you're like just, getting up, and you kind of looking in the damn ceiling, right? And it's one of those, hey, I'm ready to get the day popping, or, one of those, damn, I think I need to call out, or, I need to do something because, no way I can go in today. But in those particular moments, that's when you want to visualize, right? You want to visualize your day. You want to visualize yourself driving or whatever commute, that you take, to your job or your place of employment. You want to visualize that. Visualize yourself getting there safely. Visualize yourself, walking into those doors and, speaking to everybody and having a great attitude and visualize, your day, and everybody knows where they are, right? So whatever it is that you're doing, visualize it. And however you want that day to go, you put that in your visualization, right? You put that in your mind and you see yourself doing those things, right? That's the very first thing, you should do. And magically, you know, shit'll go just how you imagined it to go, right? So the visualization is very, very important. So, see yourself, walking in, with a great attitude, see yourself getting some things done, see yourself being that amazing employee or that amazing, boss, visualize that shit, man. And the next thing, that I brought up is that, you got to check your attitude at the door. Check your attitude at the door. Let's say it again. Check your attitude at the door. And what does that mean? Well, it's not anybody's fault. If your daughter or your son brought home flat Fs, or they getting in trouble in school, or you're having relationship issues with the spouse or significant other, or that kind of thing, or you got a fucked up car, or your tires are bad, or this. You can think of all kind of things, right? But you gotta check that attitude. And you can have all of these things can be impacting you as well. But what you have to remember is that in most cases, nobody that you're going inside that building, either speaking to or working with had anything to do with your issues. I'm going to say that again. Your supervisor didn't have anything to do, with the lights getting cut off or you getting a ticket, on your way to work, or, you and the spouse having an argument. Your supervisor didn't have anything to do with that. Your coworker didn't have anything to do with that. The custodial worker you being fucking rude to that's cleaning up your fucking facilities, they didn't have anything, to do with that. And a lot of times as people, instead of checking ourselves, and checking our attitude, we push that shit on other people, and on other situations, right? And I could talk about that type of thing, all day. But check your attitude at the door. All right. Remember, it's nobody else's fault. I got myself in this situation, right? Based on my decisions, I'm here today. Right. If I want to be somewhere else, I need to do something different about that. So check your attitude at the door, and make sure that, it's a positive attitude, and if you can't have a positive attitude, maybe you should fucking call in, right? Real talk. And if it's a case where you can't call in and you gotta be there, right? Or you own your business, right? And, your employee or supervisor or manager called off and you gotta be there. Well, if you gotta be there, you have to put yourself in a position where you're good to other people, right? Because, perception is everything, right? So, you coming in, especially being a boss, having a shitty attitude, that's going to impact the entire day. Right? And that goes from the boss to the front entry-level, employee. Because if you're an entry-level employee, perhaps on the phones, you're going to be speaking to someone else, right? On behalf of the company that you work for. You get a bad QA or some shit like that and you're pissed off, but it's because of my attitude. So it's very important to check your attitude at the door. Make sure that it's the right attitude, at the right time. And, we can all measure that, accordingly. And the very last thing I went into is that ultimately have a plan. All right? Have a plan. You need to have a plan every day. You have a plan every day. And all these points kind of tie into each other, but you got to have a plan, every day, whether, you're going in and punching a clock at somebody's workplace or even if it's your, respective business, right? You got to have a plan. Come in that bad boy with a plan. Today I'm going to do X, Y, Z, right? Or, I got to achieve 6 sales a day, but you know what? Today I'm going to do 8, all right? But the important thing is that I'm telling myself I'm going to do these things before the day even starts. I already had this plan in play, before I hit that log in button or start button or whatever the fuck, button I'm, dealing with, right? So it's important, very important that we do these things. And when you execute in this fashion, I went on to explain, shit'll start changing. Things will, be different, and shit might seem magical, to you. I mean, in some cases, it can be. But everything starts with us. Everything starts, within, right? You can't look outwards. You can't look for, somebody else to change shit you got going on the inside, right? Um, so those are my points. And, ultimately, I was just like, hey, kind of hang in there. I mean, just because shit is not going how, you want it to go in the beginning, it doesn't mean that's how it's going to end up, right? So, all these things play, of course, in your day, regardless, of what it is that you're doing. You can be one of the, our exotic, queens out there, doing the exotic dancing or what have you, all the way up to, your executive or your entry level employee, punching the clock, or, you being the boss, being responsible for X amount of people, to execute this job, in X amount of days or hours or what have you. Very important that you use the concepts, so it will make your day a lot easier. I mean, it most certainly will. I mean, I think ultimately you'll find out that, a lot of these issues and problems and things that we're having, it's all us. And if I just speak, the right thing, if I just speak these best practices, in existence, I will get the results that I'm looking for, right? Because nobody wakes up and it's like, hey, I'm gonna go to work today and I'm gonna do a shitty job, or I'm gonna get into it with my, my boss or my supervisor, or I'm gonna go to the EEOC today. I mean, no one wakes up, thinking those kind of things, right? Unless you got, some history and some things going on. But even when you sign up for a job, right? I mean, you're like excited, you're excited. You tell people and that kind of thing. You get pumped up, right? And 30 days, 60 days, 90 days later, you might feel the same way or better, or, you can feel the opposite, right? But it's important to check, myself, my psyche, to make sure that I'm executing these things. I mean, and shit's not forever, right? I mean, nothing lasts, forever. I mean, whether, you're running your own business, or you're working for somebody, nothing lasts forever. I mean, and you will have changes, right? I mean, and so it's just about being able to navigate, through those changes and understand, the type of situation and setup that you're in. Some of us are in good situations, and some of us are in not so good situations. So I think what's important is that by, visualizing my day, in the morning, or, whenever, I'm kind of getting up, that soon as you open your eyes up, from, that period of sleep, whether it be 3 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours. I know a lot of us not getting 8 hours, of sleep. That's very important. But, whatever time that you're spending in that downtime, and then as soon as you open your eyes up, this is when you should begin this process. So, again, visualizing your day, checking your attitude at the door, having a plan, these three things, will most certainly put you in a position of success. So, I could talk your head off, again, I know, it's Monday. I meant to do this a little bit earlier. Had a lot of things going on, but, again, wanted to get this out, to the fam. Thanks again, for your undivided attention, and remember to visualize your day, write that shit down if you have to, check your shit, check your attitude, check your attitude at the door. Have a plan, man. Most certainly have a plan. Just don't be out there, aimlessly, just doing shit, because time will fly by, before you know it, you'll be with the company 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. So it's, and all of that is good as long as you have a plan, and things are being executed according to your plan, so again, those three things, execute those, and you'll most certainly see a change. Let me know your thoughts. Love to hear, some of your success stories. So, give me a holler. Peace.